I'm Amy. I'm going to show you the ThinkSpace board today, which is a really useful tool for classroom management and communication. So what it is a trifold board that is a place where you can centralize information for students in the classroom. This was created to solve a problem of not being able to post information for students just in the after-school program when we're using classrooms that are used by other people during the day. So students will know that if they have questions about their activities for the day, that this is a central place where they can find information just about the program. On this right section, you'll see that we've posted the Think Together agreements so that every day when you as a program leader go over the agreements with your students, it's handy to refer to, and even throughout the day, if any behavioral issues arise, you're able to immediately refer students back to your agreements poster. On the far left side, we have a list of the student leaders for this group. So some ideas for leaders that we've suggested by showing you on this board would be to have a class host, a line leader, a cleanup monitor, and 2 materials monitors. We also have an alternate in case one of the students is absent. And the way that we would indicate the students that are the leaders for the week, and I would suggest choosing new leaders every week, is on the back of this board, on this side, there's a manila envelope, and inside there are index cards for all of the students in the group with their names written on the top. There's also a chart here where you can write down the week that that student had a particular job. So, for example, Enrique was the host for this group on the week of October 11th. So a recommendation would be that every Monday at the beginning of the program, you could draw new leaders out of the envelope. And then you could put them right here into these little pockets. So this week, Tracy would be our host. Jose would be the line leader. Dimitri would be our alternate. Lamar and Rosa could be our materials monitors, and Janice would be our cleanup monitor. And then I would just write on the back on the form who was doing what job for the week. In the center section, this is an area where you could be really creative with how you want to use that space. In this sample, we had a person of the week, so we just attached a page protector here. And each week we would have a different person to feature, and maybe some of your journaling topics would relate to this person. Right here we have a piece of laminated cardstock where the daily schedule could be written. So I just used a dry erase marker and wrote down some of the items, and then at tomorrow before program I'll just erase them. It's really easy, you can see. Erase, and then I'll start over tomorrow with the activities for the next day. Some other suggestions for this middle section would be a place to put cool words from Quizlet or journaling topic for the day, possibly your weekly schedule. So there's a lot of ways that you can be flexible and creative with what you put in the center section. You'll notice right here it says Miss Erica's Superstars. So in this case, Erica would be the name of the program leader and Superstars would be her group name. So when it came to actually creating this board, we started with a poster board that looked like this, a trifold that I actually purchased online with Staples. And then we just used an X-Acto knife to trim it straight across in half. So then you end up with one of this size. And when transporting them around the site, they don't fit into the rolling carts, but I'll see program leaders rest it on the back of the handle of the cart. So as you pull it along, it just sits on the top. Then we covered it in butcher paper, front and back, and used some colored masking tape to trim the edges. And the colored masking tape I also got from Staples. You know, hopefully butcher paper is something you could get at your school or at your hub office. And then on the back of this board, I showed you where the envelope is that has the student names. But what I've seen at some sites that's worked really well is on the back, at the beginning of the year, after the students went through the relationship building lessons and they talked about what the agreements meant to them, all of the students signed the back to show that they were in agreement with the agreements and that everybody was committed to being in an environment that was respectful, safe, responsible, and fun. If I open it back up here, right here you can see these little pockets are library pockets that I purchased at Lakeshore Learning. If you want to try an alternative to those, this is another sample board that we used where I actually just took envelopes and trimmed them in half. So if you want to save some money at your site and you already have some envelopes, you can just cut them and make some little pockets right there. You can see on this sample that we also use the cool words and the weekly schedule, but again, you also find the agreements right here. So we found this to be a really useful tool for communicating with the students, as well as creating a place that they can call their own in a classroom where they may not always feel welcome or free to put things out, but they know if they need information about the program, they just need to look at their ThinkSpace board. Here we used a laminated piece of blank cardstock. If you were going to use this for your daily schedule and you have a pretty consistent schedule where things start and end at the same time every day, you could pre-print that before you laminated it with the times. Some people have a printed schedule that they'll put in this laminating pocket here, this page protector, and they'll use this board as a space to write things down. So if in your classroom you don't have access to a whiteboard or a chalkboard, you can use this as a place to write things for the students. Here you can see we didn't use a whiteboard, so there are 2 page protector sheets that you could use instead. Some things to consider if you're going to implement the ThinkSpace board at your site would be to have a time where multiple sites can get together to create these. When purchasing the materials like the report boards here or the library pockets or the colored tape, we found it to be more effective, cost-effective, to buy large quantities of the materials and then bring a lot of people together, and so then you would have more options of styles of library pockets or colors of the colored tape to use, and it was cheaper than having every site have to go out and buy all of those materials just for one site. When it comes to using this at the site, we feel it's important for the site coordinator to give some direction to the program leaders about what items should be included on this. So we gave some recommendations. I've given you some, like having a person of the week. Maybe you could have a word of the week or journaling topics. There are all kinds of things you could do in this center section. And maybe these student leader jobs that I suggested aren't jobs that necessarily fit the needs at your site. But we feel it's important for the site coordinator to decide on a consistent plan of what this would look like, so that in any classroom on the site you could expect to see some of the same things. So even while the decorations and the colors might look different, the information will be consistent. When hanging it at the site or posting it, some places that we found that worked well in the classroom were the tray on the whiteboard or the chalkboard, because it could just lay flat against the board. Also, you could put it on a desk or a counter or some sort of a table off to the side, just a place where everybody could see it.